In the beginning, humans survived through barter. Wheat for clothes, cattle for tools. But soon, the limits became clear. How do you trade for something you don't yet need? Across ancient civilizations, a powerful idea was born. Money. A universal symbol of trust. No nation, no religion, no era has escaped its power. While kings led armies to conquer land, one family quietly conquered kingdoms. The Medici didn't draw blood. They moved numbers. From Florence, their empire was built not on swords, but on credit. They funded popes, sculpted the Renaissance, and invented modern banking, all while enemies whispered of their dark magic. What's worth more than a house? In 1637, the answer was a flower. Tulip bulbs in the Netherlands turned into wealth symbols. People traded fortunes for a spot in the madness, but like every dream inflated by greed, it burst. Overnight, lives collapsed, and the world learned. Markets can blind the wisest of minds. Gold was pure, eternal. But humanity wanted something lighter, something printable. Paper money became the new promise. But without gold behind it, what was its worth? A piece of trust or a future debt? Empires rose and fell on this wager. It was not just currency, it was war. On a dusty street in 1792, 24 men gathered under a buttonwood tree. They weren't warriors, but they would build a battlefield. Wall Street. What began as a stock agreement turned into a furnace of speculation, wealth, power, and ruin. A street where dreams are made and burned. It started with land. It always does. The price of everything, rising, rising, rising. And then one day, everything shattered. Banks failed, businesses collapsed, and thousands watched their world disappear. In the ashes, America learned a hard truth. Debt is a fire, and when it burns, there's no escaping. 1848, gold discovered in California. The world rushed. Farmers left their fields, soldiers left their battlegrounds. Everyone gambled their lives for a chance at fortune. But the gold wasn't for everyone. Most left with broken dreams. A few became kings. Gold didn't just shine, it blinded millions. War raged across America. But battles aren't just won with bullets, they're won with banks. Abraham Lincoln faced a bankrupt nation, so he printed greenbacks, money backed not by gold, but by victory. It was a gamble that saved the Union and changed money, forever. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, titans who turned money into power and power into monopoly. Their empires fueled America's rise, but for the masses life was struggle. The more they built, the more America asked, how much is too much? When America was drowning in crisis, one man held the nation in his hands, J.P. Morgan. With a phone call, he saved the stock market. With his influence, he shaped the Federal Reserve. He wasn't elected, but he ruled like a king in the empire of finance. War eats wealth. After World War I, Germany printed money to pay war debts. But what happens when money loses its meaning? People burned cash to keep warm. A loaf of bread cost a wheelbarrow of bills. Inflation didn't just break Germany, it birthed a monster waiting in the shadows. October 1929. A day the world will never forget. Stocks soared. People borrowed to dream. And then, the fall. Billions vanished. Investors jumped, factories shut down. The Great Depression was not just an economic crash. It was a heartbreak, one that still echoes today. Countries panicked. They turned back to gold. But even gold couldn't save a broken world. In 1933, FDR banned private gold. America was dismantling the golden god money had changed, and so had power. World War II wasn't just fought in trenches, it was fought in boardrooms. Hitler forged counterfeit pounds to cripple England. America launched war bonds to finance millions of troops. The pen became as deadly as the bomb, and money was its weapon. In 1944, the world gathered to rebuild. Nations agreed to one system. Gold would back dollars, and dollars would back the world. America became the banker of Earth for the first time ever. One currency ruled all. Money creates wealth, but debt creates control. America lent billions to rebuild Europe, and Europe became dependent. Countries that borrow become servants. Financial chains are invisible, but unbreakable. Gold was supposed to keep promises honest, but promises were piling up. In 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard. The dollar floated. The world gasped. But it didn't crash. It evolved. Money was no longer physical. It became faith and leverage. Energy is life, and America had a plan. Oil would be sold in dollars, no exceptions. Saudi Arabia agreed. The world followed. Now every country needed dollars to keep the lights on. Power didn't lie in oil, but in the currency it was bought with. Trading floors turned into servers. Money moved in nanoseconds. Algorithms replaced instincts. Data replaced emotions. Wealth wasn't held anymore. It was coded, traded, processed. Finance became not a game of men, but machines. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Not just from ideology, but from economy. A system without profit cannot survive. The West won, not by war, but by money. Capitalism became the global religion and Wall Street its temple. Asia rose. Japan, Thailand, Korea, tiger economies. But when capital fled, teeth showed, currencies collapsed, recessions hit hard, the International Monetary Fund stepped in, with loans that came with chains. The internet was magical. A new frontier. Companies with no profits were worth billions. And then one day, reality arrived. Markets collapsed. Billions lost. But from the ashes, giants like Amazon and Google rose. Boom or bust, innovation doesn't wait. Europe dreamed of unity. One currency, one future. But how do you stitch together economies that are worlds apart? The euro was born in hope and stress. It was not just a currency, it was a question. Can unity survive without sacrifice? A home, the ultimate dream, and Wall Street found a way to package dreams into investments. Mortgages became assets, assets became weapons, and in 2008 the system collapsed. Millions lost everything, and a storm began. The 2008 financial meltdown didn't start in America. It spread like fire. From Iceland to Pakistan, banks failed, governments bailed, people protested, wealth was destroyed, and trust was shattered. Central banks printed, and printed, and printed. It wasn't paper anymore. It was code, pumped into markets. Stocks soared, but wages didn't. A new wealth gap was born. The rich invested, the poor survived. The world changed. Satoshi, a name that nobody knows, but a revolution that everybody feels. Bitcoin was built as revenge against banks, against printing, against control decentralized, anonymous, unstoppable, or is it China grew fast? Factories, roads, towers, all built on credit. Trillions pumped into infrastructure, but a debt bubble doesn't warn, it bursts. Now the world watches silently. Will China rise or crack under its own weight? 2020. The world stops. Markets crash. Governments react. Trillions printed overnight. We learned that money is just numbers, and trust is the real currency. What happens when trust dies? A monkey JPEG. $1 million. Art was no longer a canvas. It was code, non-fungible, unique. Digital ownership became real, or did it? A new bubble inflated. Some got rich, many got wrecked, and everyone learned. The digital gold rush is just beginning. War returned to Europe. Russia invaded Ukraine. But the real battlefield? Banking. The US cut Russia off from SWIFT. The dollar became a weapon. Sanctions replaced rockets. Money turned into a missile. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Together they challenged the dollar. Talks of a new currency. Power shifting. But changing the world's currency is no small task. The battle has begun, and it's not over. Prices rose, wages stayed, people cried. Inflation wasn't just an economic term, it was a nightmare. Food, shelter, everything cost more. We learned that money isn't just what you make, it's what you lose. Artificial intelligence took over everything, and finance was no exception. Bots trade faster than humans. Predictions happen before we blink. But what happens when we can't understand what's moving the market anymore? We borrowed from the planet, trees, water, clean air, and we never paid back. Now nature is sending the bill. Wildfires, floods, food scarcity. We traded Earth for profit, and the interest is unbearable. They say attention is the new currency. Likes, clicks, subscribers. The real wealth of today. Brands fight for it. Creators sprint for it. But attention is fragile. And when it's gone, so is everything built on it. The battlefield is no longer ground or oil. It's data, platforms, microchips. China, the US and India race for control, not of land, but of information and payment rails. The one who controls money will control the world. 1929, 2008, 2020. The crash has come, always, because humans forget. We dream too big, we leverage too much, and we fall too fast. The cycle isn't broken, it's alive, waiting, watching. Money used to be paper, now it's numbers, now it's code. Tomorrow, it may be something else. Energy, creativity, reputation. Value is evolving and the world is scrambling to keep up. Money built cities, sparked wars, toppled empires. But what did it destroy? What did it save? In the end, wealth is not dollars or gold. It's what's remembered. In a world shaped by numbers, what will we choose to value?